The AI discussion is not going away. In fact, it's getting deeper, more passionate, somewhat heated. Let's talk about it. A very warm welcome to you, my friend, wherever you may be in the world. Before we jump into today's video, I just want to mention that if you do not know already, the Depeche Mode Hub is my brand new YouTube channel, which I've set up especially for you, the Depeche Mode fan. For those of you who watch my channel exclusively for the Depeche Mode content, know that I've started this separate channel called the Depeche Mode Hub so that I could put all the Depeche Mode content on that channel, because I know there are those of you who watch my channel exclusively for Depeche Mode content. It's a good way for me as well to also branch out into other regions as well, so everyone's a winner. So if you are a Depeche Mode fan, check it out now, the Depeche Mode Hub. Please subscribe there. You will find all my legacy content there, as well as an ever-growing catalogue of Depeche Mode content. So do check it out. Also, on the subject of Depeche Mode, I'm pleased to announce that my Interpretations series of live shows is now starting, with the first show booked in Oberhausen on December the 28th. That's right, for those of you who've always said you would love to hear me perform my Depeche Mode interpretations on piano live, is now the chance for you to come and see me live at a show near you. With the first show booked, a lot more detail coming, but let's jump into today's video. In this video, I want to address some of the comments and feedback that I got from you guys, the community, on this subject. Now, this all started when I released this video, and this video started to go viral. I then followed it up with this video where I spoke about, is AI the death of the industry? So this video is really to just talk about your feedback and, some of the discussions that went on. Now, some of them, the discussions got really, really heated and fiery. I think most artists, musicians are on the same page as me. I think we're all very not in favor of what AI is doing. There is the counter-argument, which very often typically comes from people who are not musicians. One really stupid comment I got from someone, something along the lines of, oh, it's good, you artists are so arrogant, it's nice to have a computer take over, something ridiculous like that. And my response to him was something like, oh, buddy, you're the kind of guy that is going to have sex with an AI doll, aren't you? Because the blow-up dolls, okay, I don't want to lower the tone here, but the blow-up dolls are going to become very, very, you'll be able to buy a sex doll, which probably cleans your house and everything, and it'll be gorgeous, and it'll never age. And I think people who leave comments like that are probably the people who are going to buy dolls like that. But anyway, let's not get beside ourselves there. The point is, I've been talking to a lot of very influential producers and artists regarding the subject. You'll be pleased to know that a lot of them have agreed to come onto my channel and to talk about this. I'm not going to names drop who they are at the moment, but it'll become apparent very, very soon. The truth is, my friend, I can't think of any producer that I respect or musician that I respect that I've been speaking to that can see an upside to this whole AI thing. And in my previous video, I was trying to be as open-minded as possible. As humans, we all have a confirmation bias, and we're reluctant to change. And some people will say that, this is a good thing. I'm still finding it very hard to see the upside to the AI. Some arguments were made by producers, which were very valid arguments. It was the argument I used as well. And that argument was, at what point do we say that's too much technology? I mean, there was a time where if you wanted to be an artist, you had to play an instrument. You had to be able to sing and play a real instrument or whatever. Then synthesizers came onto the scene, and you could program music. There was always the old school, credible, the people who call themselves real musicians who kind of rebelled against that, but then there were those who embraced the technology. And point I'm making is, did musicianship die with synthesizers? No, it didn't. If anything, it's enhanced it and it's made the world better. Then we had people, for instance, like Gary Newman with the Tubeway Army, who was a punk band, and then he came in and he found a Moog, and that revolutionized the way he worked. And we can really go down a rabbit hole with this. The only thing is, we're at a point now where the technology is not going to help you, it's going to do it for you. And where does that leave us as artists? One of the brightest minds in the world at the moment, well, in my opinion, his name's Yuval Noah Harari. I've watched a lot of his podcasts, and this man speaks with a lot of clear intention and a lot of intelligence. And on a podcast I watched with him on the YouTube channel called Diary for a CEO, I will link to that in the description below, he talks about how AI is a completely different thing. And he addresses the school of thought that says, oh, we don't have to be scared by it. Humanity's always been freaked out by new technology. He goes on to say, well, this is a completely different thing because AI will just do everything for you. And never before have we had a technology that will be able to outdo us. I mean, just take it with a few years from now, with the exponential growth of things. Remember, these things aren't linear. It doesn't go from 1, 2, 3. It can go from 10 to 100,000 to a million. It's this exponential growth. And with this exponential growth, we're just being left behind. I think where it can take us is fascinating, but it can also take us to a very, very dark and dangerous place. And as I said in my last video, is a lot of the problems we have with technologies and stuff, it's not really the technology, it is the human element. I said, you can use money to build schools in Africa, or you can use money to buy drugs. The money is just a tool. It can be used for good or bad. Technology is the same thing. It can be used for good or bad. And then if you look at human beings will always, there's always a dark side to human beings. And no matter how much legislation or regulation you bring in, you, the person who is moral, is going to be on the back foot, because the people who are not moral are going to use this to their advantage. But within that, AI itself could, and they say it will, get to a point where it could become, and they say it's very likely that it will become self-aware. Yeah, it will have a consciousness. So it's not the same thing. It is scary. This is completely different to any situation humanity's been in before. And also, you always had the choice where you could reject certain things. Unfortunately now, we're getting to a point now where the world is becoming so interconnected with politics and everything that it doesn't matter what vocation you're in, AI is going to affect you. It doesn't matter what industry, or it's almost like everything becomes one. And I can go down a rabbit hole now, so let me come back to music. I said this before, I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to see the upside to this. I said that, my daughter now, who's 2 years old, she's just going to accept this. This is the world that she came into. And then she'll have her ranting father saying, back in my days, I remember when there was a time when there was no internet. And, to a lot of you watching, that's not funny because you were around. But there is going to be a time where people will be like, oh my God, my dad was born in a time when there was no internet. So I have my concerns. As an artist and an artist development coach, this is something has dominated a lot of my conversations with my students. And I think the whole AI thing is going to be possibly a huge talking point, not only in the world, but probably on this channel as well, because there's just no way around it. It's not something that you can turn your back on. AI is going to affect and infiltrate everything we do. And unfortunately, it's not going to be like a time where you could go, I don't do computers. I just don't. It's just going to infiltrate everything, and there's going to be no escape from it. And it's a fascinating but quite a dark subject as well. And we'll speak more about it. But for now, please leave your comments below. Anything you want to say on the subject of AI. If you're a musician or if you're not a musician, let's keep this conversation going. I'm happy to hear differences of opinion. I I'm understandably very worried about this. I'm trying to be optimistic about it. But as I say, I've spoken to some people that I really look up to, some well-known producers, and none of them are optimistic about this. Give me your comments. Please subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Lots of love.